Yeah. We won't bow down. Yeah. Yeah. They shut the gate too fast. Call it peace, call it class. But I see who they wave through, and I see who they ask to move. Porch lights on the same old block, same old story, same old talk. If your skin says you don't belong, they can make a wrong look strong. But the fences don't define us, and the fear they feel will blind us. Every face they try to hide still stands right here tonight. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. We know what that is about. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. Your fear won't right the route. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down. Names get tossed like stones from a driveway built on loans. They pointed brown hands first, then pretend they don't rehearse. But the steps on every street carry more than whitewashed dreams. We belong where we stand, no permission in our hands. Yeah, and the silence won't protect you when the pattern keeps on showing. Every wall they build in pride makes the truth come back alive. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. We know what that is about. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down, 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 down. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. Your fear won't right the route. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down, 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 down. Let it crack, let it show. Every lie they try to grow, one by one the voices rise till the whole thing can't disguise. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. We know what that is about. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down, 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 down. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. Your fear won't right the route. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down, 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 down.
What it do, guys? It's your boy, the Juice. And as you all know, my name is Troy Bradshaw, but I go by the Juice. Man, I didn't even know if I was going to go live tonight, man. I didn't know if I was going to go live this morning, I guess you could say, since for some of you guys, it's probably 6 in the morning. Hope everybody had a good Friday. And now, hopefully everybody starts off with a good Saturday morning. I got some interesting news for y'all. It's not nothing too crazy, but I got my mail today, and I got something to show you guys. But we'll wait till the end. I don't want to show you guys just yet. So if you're here till the end, you'll see it. If you're not, just come back and you'll see it at the end. I won't show it just yet. Let's start it off with a prayer first, before we even dive into any details. I wanted to just talk about, of course, some Nolan Wells tonight and a little bit of Nancy, not too much Nancy, because there hasn't been too many updates as far as Nancy. There really hasn't been any updates at all, actually. There's just been some rumors that have been surfacing. Well, not really even rumors. Yeah, I guess you could call them rumors. It's more like controversy, really. But anywho, before we just dive into any details, let's start it off here with just a brief prayer here. Feel free to join me here if you want to join me here for a prayer. Big welcomes those of you guys tuned in, by the way. Good to see a lot of you guys chiming in here. Sorry, I know it's a late stream. You could call it an early one if it's early for you. We'll say a prayer for ourselves, Nancy, Nolan, and just a prayer, just to say a prayer in general. People have been kind of talking crazy in the comment sections. I guess people are in control over how I pray, what you pray about, who you pray about. And apparently there's a way to pray, I guess. But anyway, prayer for Nancy, prayer for Nolan, prayer in general. Dear Heavenly Father, I'd just like to thank you for the time and opportunity to just come out this evening or this morning and just stream and be able to, present a story in regards to our lost loved ones or someone missing out there that, we're eager to find information about. Father, I just want to thank you for blessing me with such a wonderful audience, wonderful people surrounding me with so many good people that continue to just give me knowledge, strength, confidence, and I'm just highly thankful and blessed to be here and be on this platform. And just want to ask that you continue to watch over us all, watch over the viewers, watch over my family, watch over their families, and as always, even the evil, we want to pray for those who, are up to no good. But Father, most importantly, I'm just highly blessed, and I just wanted to say, just continue to keep us all safe and watch over us all. In dear Jesus' name, amen. Amen. And for our people here that we're covering tonight, I just, I want to take a moment of silence for Nolan Wells and Nancy as well. Amen. Amen. Love that song. Big welcome those of y'all tuning in, man. Yeah, I was enjoying that song. My little intro song, and I think it was what's his name, Fat Redal, who made that song, man. Shouts to him if he's the one who made that song, man. That's I don't know. That song just stuck with me the first time I heard it.
All right, the route. Keep us out, keep us out.
Sorry, guys. I had to just throw that one in there real quick. Anyway, big welcomes. Those of you guys tuning in, man. Good to see you guys. I'm actually having a decent Friday night. Well, Saturday morning now. Let's just talk about Nancy first here, because there's not too much, craziness on Nancy. We pretty much covered it as well. So there's been some controversy pretty much targeting Tommaso because of the photo that I think it was really JLR who posted the photo. The photo went viral, actually, and I actually saw it on a couple news outlets here online. So there's a photo with Tommaso sitting beside a blurred woman. Well, she wasn't blurred. They put like a black mark over her and you could still see her face. But it triggered a wave of, online accusations, of course. And, everybody's talking about it. And, I don't know if that picture's recent or not. But it seems like people are questioning, as usual, whether or not Tommaso's here or he's in Italy. He could be in Italy. Who knows? I don't know if he's in Italy or not. I guess that's really his business, and that's his choice. I mean, I don't think that he's, I don't think he's, he should be here because of what's going on. But, it has been 169 days since Nancy's gone missing. Who knows if they're If I'm assuming that they haven't moved on. I mean, I would hope not. Hopefully they're still looking for Nancy, although a lot of the world doesn't feel like that, because they're really not out here actively searching or commenting. They've been dead silent. They've been quiet. They haven't said a single word. In fact, the last time we seen Tommaso was when he was wandering around the house at Nancy's with a suspiciously thuggish walk is what I would call it. So I don't know. I don't know much about, where we stand with Annie and Tommaso. All I know is, I think a majority of the world still thinks that they're somehow involved, unfortunately. Because those were the last two people. Well, he or Annie was the last two people to, one of the last two, if not both, to see Nancy. So it's still in question. We still don't know anything. We're still hoping for the best, and a really big update on Nancy's case. And still unfortunate that we've gotten pretty much nowhere in all this time. It really sucks. So supposedly, as of right now, not supposedly, as of right now, Sione is not a suspect. The internet speculations are derailing, investigations for the most part. The photo was pushed online by JLR, and it's really gotten out there, that's for sure. And I don't even know where JLR got this photo, to be honest. Where did he get this photo, man? Who sent him this photo? And what did they say? I wondered, what did they say? As far as how recent this photo was. Is this just an old picture somebody dug up? But when you look at the picture, Tommaso looks like he looks old, older, if it's a recent picture. He kind of looks like, the last time we saw him for the most part, but he kind of looks like he's been eating good, he's gained a little bit of weight. So it could be an older picture. I have no idea. But that's pretty much what's going on as far as Nancy. There's really no updates whatsoever. Silent, dead silent, guys. We still patiently wait to hear something about Nancy, but not much at all. Big welcomes those of you guys tuning in. Shouts to the mods tuning in here. Shouts to the members of the channel here plugging in. Welcome DJ Summer Wednesday. Welcome Gene Phillip. Gene says it's not recent. Yeah, it's hard to tell. I don't know. I would guess that it's an old picture that somebody found of him and sent it. I can't call it. I don't really know. And for me personally, there's nothing we can really do with that unless we have proof. All we can do is share this picture, and that's about it. Other than that, if there's no proof, then there's not much you could do but speculate on it, really. Made in the UK, good seeing you in the chat, by the way. Big welcomes. Made in the UK vodka. Welcome in, vodka, guys. Welcome, guys. Somebody said something in the chat. I was trying to catch up. Hold on, let me pull up the other chat here, because I forgot my chat's been acting real funny lately. I can't scroll through. Gene says, you should pray from the heart. That is what Jesus wants. Indeed, indeed. Yeah, there's no way to pray, but some people were going crazy in the comment sections. Well, one person in particular was talking crazy in the comment section, saying that they were very upset because I said a prayer for Alex, and it wasn't just all for Alex, but it was just, I usually pray in general. It's not just specifically one person. Even when I pray for Nancy, I pray for others on top of that too. But somebody took it upon themselves to go off, and it felt like that person just was waiting to find any little reason to go off. I don't know. It's bothering when people come in and they threaten me saying, oh, well, I'm gonna unsubscribe, or I'm going to, how do they say it? I'm going to cancel my membership. Just do it. If that's what you're going to do, just do it. I mean, what's the point of you telling me that? Especially, you're talking crazy about Alex, saying he's being childish. I think the same thing applies to you if you're going crazy in the chat, telling somebody that you're going to unsubscribe or cancel your membership because you didn't like the fact that someone didn't mention something that you were looking for. One day, one stream, that's a little childish to me. But that's okay. You know, people are going to act how they're going to act. Fanny Pack, big welcomes, Fanny Pack. Janet, big welcomes, man. Welcome in, guys. So, you know, like I said, I got something I was going to show you guys, but I'll wait till the end. I'm not going to show it just yet. Hey, Inspire Michelle, good seeing you. She says it's none of their business what other people say about you. Mind your business. Yeah, I just don't get it. People just, I don't know, man. People are crazy. Just the trolls. I guess so. And half the people that talk crazy in the comment section don't even have pictures of themselves, or, you know, it's either the same person, but this person actually had a picture of themselves. I have no idea why that made her so angry. I guess maybe she didn't like Alex or something. I have no idea. How you doing, Innocent, man? Welcome back, Innocent. Good grief, just trolls. I mean, these trolls are something else. There's something else, guys. I'm telling you, there's something else. Man, there's plenty bigger people, bigger YouTubes to troll. There's bigger people beyond me, for sure. I'm just a small YouTuber. I got a long way to go. I mean, I don't know why they choose to pick on me so much, man. It's crazy. So anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Nolan Wells. I don't know how long I'll be on. I probably won't be on too crazy long as usual. Maybe a couple hours. Maybe just may just do a 24-hour stream. I don't know. No, we won't be on that long. So anyways, there's been a couple little updates that I've, you know, learned in regards to Nolan Wells. You know, Cheryl McCollum, I was watching her talk earlier, and one thing she pointed out is what we kind of covered yesterday, was she was saying that we're kind of getting double everything. We're getting 2 autopsies. We're getting 2, you know, we got 2 experts on this thing, you know, and then one of the things she stated was we could hear the caller when the boat was sinking. You know, she says, you know, why wouldn't the person be panicking when the boat is sinking? If the story doesn't match completely, then, you know, it's going to be a problem. And I think a lot of people are questioning that right now. And I think we all are, though. But nonetheless, the sheriff has came out and spoke as well. And one of the things that I talked about yesterday that he said was, there was no signs of foul play. And it's like almost like it reminds you of Sheriff Nanos here in Tucson all over again, because, you know, he's coming out and just saying stuff that he doesn't know. Now he wants to say he doesn't, you know, now he's being honest. But the fact that he said that there was no signs of foul play when we haven't even got the autopsy back for Nolan Wells is kind of crazy. And it only raises more suspicion, and it makes people more hysterical. People just get more angry when people say things like that, especially the person that's in charge, or one of the people in charge of this investigation. So it sucks to know that Nolan's family is not even, you know, getting a proper investigation from the jump. And that's really what the transparency is from them right now, is they just want that. You know, they just want to be treated fairly. They want they want justice. They want to get, you know, they want to figure out what exactly took place here. They want to know what happened to their son, and as they should, because, you know, they owe them that. They should be doing that for them. So anyway, I was watching a little bit earlier, and I was watching a couple videos a little bit earlier, and there's a little boy. Let me switch my screen here. There's a little boy, I guess not a little boy, because they're basically grown men now. We've been showing him on the live here. There's a guy next to Nolan Wells, and I thought it was like a really close friend. He's spoken out. He said a couple things. They don't really play the whole thing. But the parents are saying that they don't even know the boy. And don't quote me on it. I'm not sure if this is him, but I believe this is the boy here. That's one of the kids that spoke out. And I think he was the one who said that it's kind of sad because they're not even able to grieve properly because of everything that's pretty much going on. But remember, we played a video with the parents. They came out on a show the other day, and they were saying it might not be him. It might have been a different boy. Looks like an Hispanic kid. I mean, we know Nolan was on the boat with a bunch of white kids. That kid's definitely not white. And you know how people get when, you know, somebody becomes famous because of their death, or they just become famous, period. You know, people will claim certain things that they have with you that they really don't. And apparently one of the boys that spoke up, the parents never seen him. They said he never been to their house. You know, and that's crazy. That's crazy. You know, people were trying to learn about Nolan Wells. We're trying to figure out what's going on with Nolan Wells. We're trying to figure out who his friends are to trying to help, you know, this investigation. And people are coming out and just saying random stuff. That's wrong. So I got a little bit. There's actually two parts, or two, you know, there's kind of two parts of the 911 call. Somebody in the 911 call, they haven't really pointed out which guy on the boat said, they haven't pointed out which particular person it was on the boat. I think they've said it for the most part. I couldn't find it. I was looking for it. I've heard somebody say which one was. I didn't hear him say it, actually. I saw somebody circle one of the young guys on the boat, and they were saying that specific person on the boat, out of the three guys that's on the boat with him in that picture, were the ones who made that 911 call. And let me see if I can find a picture of him real quick. I thought I still had the picture here. I think they circled, I want to say the guy on the right. I'm not too sure though. I don't know which one. I've been, you know, we haven't got all the details yet, but I've been wondering whether or not, if it's that guy on the right. It's one of those guys, I think, that made that 911 call. You know, I think, because they keep mentioning the fact that there was 15 phones on the boat. One of them was Nolan's. He left it on the boat. I think they should take all the phones and investigate every single one of those phones that were on that boat, if you ask me. That's just me, though. They should just take every single, I mean, it's an investigation. It's somebody died that died here. I think they should definitely take all those phones. It's probably, well, it's not too late. It's never too late. I mean, they took Nolan's phone. From what we're hearing, they deleted photos. They deleted messages. You know, the mother stated that his Snapchat, his social media was cleared for the most part, which is weird. And there weren't really any photos or videos from his phone of that specific day. Now, I was also able to find a picture of the girl that he supposedly stayed back on the island with. Now, reports are saying that the girl's name is Katie. They have not released her full name, so we don't know what her full name is at all. But from what I'm hearing, her name is Katie, and that's what she's looking like. That's what they're showing online. They're saying that that's what the girl looked like. So yeah, I'm not too sure, but it appears to be that girl. I don't know. Beautiful girl. You know, one thing I hate to hear is the fact that so many people, I just hate the way people put stuff, man. I really do. And I'm not trying to go against my own kind or anything like that, but man, guys, I'm not gonna lie. If a white person talked the way we talk, people would be people would be looking at them crazy. And I get it. We used to live in a time. We went through a point in time where we've been slaves, and we're not even gonna get into all that. But I just hate the way black people talk sometimes, man. Why does it have to be that way? You know what I mean? I don't like that, man. It just never, even as a kid, it just never sat with me well. Like, why does it always have to be something? Like, why can't we wait till we get the results first? Why do we have to say, oh, well, Nolan was with some white kids? You know what I mean? And this is probably what happened because he was with a group of white kids. We got people coming out saying, oh, well, he should have just dated a black girl. This would have never happened if he would have dated a black girl. Come on, people. Come on, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. To me, I'm sorry, dude, but that's ignorant. We can't even wait for the results before we start talking crazy like that. Come on, man. That's not right. To me, that's not right. I don't live like that, man. I don't. I'm just different, though. I'm different. And I'm a very observant dude. Just because, I'm not gonna live life like white people. That doesn't mean that I can't trust the white people that I'm with or I decide to hang around with. You know what I'm saying? And people are coming out saying, oh, I'm not going to feel sorry for him because he decided to go and be with a group of white people and hang out with white people. Why are people teaching their kids this? They shouldn't be teaching their kids to go hang out with white people. Or date white women. They should be teaching their kids how to date black women. Are you serious? Are you kidding me? I don't know, man. The stuff that people, I mean, come on, man. I just can't do that. And if you may have a kid one day, and your kid may not like black women. He may not like black women. And you're going to have to respect it. And there's going to be nothing you can do about it. You cannot force anybody to do what you want them to do, even your children. All you can do is put enough in their tank to make them wise and make the best choices that you possibly can make them make by the way you raise them. But at the end of the day, your children, your kids are going to do certain things that they like to do. They're going to know right from wrong, and that's all that matters. Sometimes your kids are going to have to make choices on their own in regards to making that mistake, or sometimes they have to make a mistake to learn from it. It's very difficult. One of the hardest things to do is instill certain things into them to make them make the right decisions so they don't make the same mistakes that you did. Sometimes people have to make those mistakes to learn from them, because the hardest thing to do is to get them to see it before it actually happens. And that's just the truth. You can't, it's hard. It's hard. You can't do it. I mean, not every kid is that smart to where you can just instill that knowledge into them to where they're like, you know what, I get it. And I'm going to do just that. It doesn't work like that. It don't work like that. And it's unfortunate. All your kids are different. All your children are different. If you have multiple children, all of them are different. My sister was much more wiser than I did. I was. She's made a whole lot less mistakes than I did. She was a lot smarter than I was. It's just the truth. But I'm not going to look at her differently. I'm not going to tell somebody I don't feel sorry for them because they like what they like. You cannot help what you like. And that bothers me. Now I get it. This is a very black influence case. There is a lot of black people behind this case. And it's erupted a lot. But I hope and pray that this is all handled the right way and nothing erupts. I don't want to see anything like the Rodney King situation. I don't want to see none of that. We got to handle it right. And so far, everything's been healthy. Everything's been good. But there's just these comments that I don't like, and I don't like the way we talk. It's not cool. We need to wait till we get results before we start talking crazy like that and talking down on the white folks, because we are going to look stupid if the white folks didn't do anything to us or didn't do anything to Nolan because of their color. Come on, man. I know we ain't going backwards and making this a whole race thing, but that's where it's going. Like, that's what people are doing. I don't like that. That's bothering. So anyways, let me chime in on chat real quick. And people are going to be mad at me like, oh, Juice he's going against his own kind. I really don't care what people have to say. I really don't when it comes to that. I've always been that way. I don't like that. I feel like it should all be equal. We don't have the right to just say certain stuff like, oh, because of the white people did this. Now, if a white person came out and said, oh, because of the black people, you would be calling them racist right off the bat, right off the rip. Jesus. Likewise, Layla, and me too. My daughter is half Puerto Rican, half black. It's, and for the most part, she's 75% black. She's probably got like 25% Puerto Rican, but there's a lot of biracial kids out there as well. And people don't keep that in mind either. Good morning, Peggy. Big welcomes, Peggy. Did you hear your song yet, Juice? The is it like kind of slow and soft? That song we played it the other day. I don't know if you chimed in. You probably missed it, but I actually didn't play it like in the middle of the stream. I played it at the end of the stream the other day. Summer, big welcomes, by the way. Thank you for the song, by the way. Were you the one who made the song? Chris says, that's the double standard we live in. Good job calling it out. I'm just different, man. I'm just different. I don't like it. I do not like it. I just don't live like that. I don't treat people like that, man. I'm sorry. I can't do it. Because there's actually really good white people out there. And I'm not going to put them in a category just because everyone's saying that, for one, and two, just because that's how it was at one point in time. I don't believe in that, man. We ain't got to go that far yet. We gotta wait till we get the results. For me, I wait till things happen before I start speaking on it. Now I have my own speculations and thoughts in my mind, but sometimes certain things you just don't share it until we get there. Don't share it until you know for a fact that's really what it is. Because you're gonna be sorry for saying all that in the end, if that's the case. But I put nothing past all these, thoughts and theories that could be possible. I don't look past it at all. So anyways, this is the girl that Nolan supposedly stayed back on the island with. Now, there's been some rumors going around saying that there was an altercation that took place. Some people were saying it happened around 5 p.m. when they were out on that island. Much love for the Jewel, Secret Lady. I appreciate that. Let's play this call just real quick here with let's play one of the audio calls when one of the guys on the boat reached out to 911. So this is the 911 call here.
New audio shedding light on the moments before some of Nolan Wells' friends left Horn Island off the coast of Mississippi. A mom of one of the friends last week said the group left without Nolan when their boat began malfunctioning.
We're sinking. Can you all please come?
NBC News has obtained audio as part of a records request that details the group calling for towing assistance.
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's on board.
Nolan went to the island in a boat with friends on July 4th. His body was found 2 days later. It's unclear whether Nolan was with anyone when he disappeared. This as the search for answers in the death of 18-year-old Nolan Wells continues. His family's attorneys saying they'll now work side by side with investigators to analyze Nolan's cell phone. Nolan's parents previously said they believe content may have been deleted from the phone. The case will be presented to a Mississippi grand jury once the investigation is complete. The local district attorney telling NBC News that's a standard practice for cases with an unknown cause of death and not an indication that a crime was committed. New audio shedding light on the moments before...
We'll let this play one more time here.
Some of Nolan Wells' friends left Horn Island off the coast of Mississippi. A mom of one of the friends last week said the group left without Nolan when their boat began malfunctioning.
We're sinking. Can you all please come?
NBC News has obtained audio as part of a records request that details the group calling for towing assistance.
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's on board.
Nolan went to the island in a boat with friends on July 4th. His body was found 2 days later. It's unclear whether Nolan was with anyone when he disappeared. This as the search for answers in the death of 18-year-old Nolan Wells continues. His family's attorneys saying they'll now work side by side with investigators to analyze Nolan's cell phone. Nolan's parents previously said they believe content may have been deleted from the phone. The case will be presented to a Mississippi grand jury once the investigation is complete. The local district attorney telling NBC News that's a standard practice for cases with an unknown cause of death and not an indication that a crime was committed.
So they had a press conference too, and I'm going to play a little bit of that because it's an interesting press conference. Well, the first press conference that they played, it seems like the mother and the father have made several appearances on several different shows, which is kind of crazy. I mean, I can't believe they, could just find so much strength within themselves to go on these shows. Maybe they're, hopefully they're getting some type of revenue gain, for going on all these shows. But I just don't know if I could find it within myself to do all, to make it to all these places to, go out and speak out about Nolan. I think the case is pretty national as well. At this point, I think it's not going to get too much bigger than it already is. I mean, you got Tyler Perry, Colin Kaepernick on it, what's his name? Al Sharpton. I mean, this case is huge. I mean, if you got people like Tyler Perry and those guys on this case, along with a heck of a lawyer, Benjamin Crump, I mean, it's big. It's big. So, I mean, I think it's gotten most of the recognition that it's, more than, I mean, it's got a lot of recognition by far, and I don't think it's going to go, I don't think it could go too much more beyond the recognition that it's gotten. So, them going on shows, I don't think, I don't know if that's their motive, to put the message out there even more by doing so. But hey, kudos to them for finding the strength to be able to do that. That's insane. So the call that was made after Nolan's friend left Horn Island, claiming Nolan chose to stay behind. It states that, the GPS data later showed the boat was towed for several miles and then resumed normal speed. So I'm assuming maybe they got the boat going. I don't know. But the fact that the boat was sinking, to me, that tells me, they were over capacity. So they probably had way too many people on this boat, I think, and I haven't really seen the exact boat that they were in, so maybe it was a smaller boat, maybe it was a bigger boat. I don't know. There was also another report of a dispatch call that stated, hey, we're at west tip of Horn and our bilge pump stopped working. He said, we're sinking. Can you all please come? And then the operator adds, I want to help, or I want to get this boat unsank and towed back. Now, if you don't know what a bilge pump is, if that's what it's called, I looked it up. apparently, you know, it accumulates water from the belch, whatever that is, which is the lowest. I've never been on a boat before in my life, so I know nothing about boats. But I guess it's the lowest compartment inside a boat's hull or hole. By pumping this water overboard, it prevents boats from taking an excess weight, losing stability, or sinking due to leaks, rain, or heavy waves. It works by drawing accumulated water from the bottom of the boat and pushing it out through a hose and a fitting in the side, or it says transom of the boat. There are two main ways these pumps are operated. And that's pretty much what it states. A belge is, if I'm even saying that right. I know nothing about boats. But I'm assuming, like I said, that this boat it just had too many people on it, and who knows. Also, Nolan was supposed to be left at this island. So technically, I think due to that, happening, this person could be charged with several different crimes. So there's, I think that there's several different crimes at stake here already, besides there being a homicide or, a murder. But I think whoever was driving this boat, it's a liability. So, because he was probably drinking and, he had minors on his boat for whoever the driver was, I think that that's still unknown. I wasn't able to dig up who their driver was. But it sounds like the person driving the boat was probably drinking as well. And we know that would probably be somehow, some way contributing to minors if, or maybe even a DUI. I don't know how it works on boats. I think the rules are a little bit more strict when it comes to boats. I'm not too sure though. But I've seen cops be pretty aggressive, when it comes to people being on boats. You'll be surprised, man. People get stopped all the time on boats. But so I'm going to mention here, there, as far as the crimes that this person could potentially be charged with is, one of them could be reckless endangerment. Another could be manslaughter. It just depends on the danger of the level. And then I think there was one more that I was looking at earlier. But anyway, yeah, there's several. I mean, I feel like this person could be arrested already for whoever left him on that island there, or friends. I don't know, but somebody definitely could be put behind bars already here. And people are already talking. I think people should probably just shut up. I mean, if you didn't do anything wrong, then why are you talking already? And the fact that people are getting lawyers already is raising a lot of suspicion to the public. So it kind of says a lot about this case. I feel like, something's in the air. I mean, we all feel that, I think, at this point. I want to play this press conference with the lawyer, Crump, and then Al Sharpton. They were, well, let's just play it. I don't even want to spill the beans. Let's just play this short clip here when they were talking. It's quite interesting to me.
That when I received the word of what happened to Nolan and began hearing what was pieced together, it is clear that this situation must have the most thorough and objective investigation to lead to justice. What we've been told does not make sense. And being that there is lack of confidence in the local authorities, who have already, in my judgment, seemed to have mishandled where it was going. Because to just immediately, before a week time, saying there was nothing done wrong, when we hear that this young man was engaged in some kind of argument that was on tape, that his cell phone and keys ended up with one of the people that were there on the island and got away. He was one black with 3 young white men who happened to end up with his phone, happened to end up with his keys. Then there's just too many questions that they should not be closing the investigation.
And so I'm going to get to that in a moment, these glaring contradictions, but to try to say, oh, we're suggesting it was just an accident or drowning, go ahead and move on. Well, they are not accepting it. They are not accepting it. They want to know that you have not taken the path of least resistance, that you have done a full, complete, thorough, impartial investigation, because it cannot be lost on anybody, but especially us in the black community. If the roles were reversed and you had 3 young black men on a boat with a young white man, and that young white man ended up dead, what kind of investigation would be being conducted by the Mississippi law enforcement officials? How many times would those 3 young black men be interrogated? So all we're asking is the same consideration you would have given if the roles were reversed. Give that consideration to this family as well. That is our fight. The glaring contradictions just jump out at you. The fact that he is there with his friends, and you look at all the videos, it seems to be he's the only black on the island, or maybe one other, but not many. And so, Jared, you have where a young woman he was talking to says that, well, Nolan said he was going back to get on the boat with the boys. The boys say that Nolan told them he was going to stay and talk to the young woman. It's a contradiction. They're not saying the same thing.
We are grateful, especially to our friend Tashima, who actually was one of the people who helped us that night. She went and picked up his cell phone from where it was and then provided that to us, because we of course contacted authorities to figure out who to do the report with, whether it was the county or the city, which then turned into DMR, who I contacted immediately from there. And, but.
Can you tell them how you got the cell phone?
So our friend actually, when I called her, Nolan is best friends with her 2 sons, Jalen and Javon. When I called her, I said, Tashima, have you seen Nolan? He's missing. No one has seen him. No one has talked to him. The boys were actually with her sons. So they opened up their Snapchat, because a lot of the kids do have their locations where they're tracking one another. So one of the boys says, well, it's showing that I can't exactly remember what his location was showing, but my Life 360 location was showing something completely different. It was actually showing that his phone was like he was on land. And so we ended up, she received the phone from that parent, and then we met up where his car was, which was at a separate location. There were issues obtaining the key, but even so, there was just a lot of...
Tell them about what happened with the key.
Why would there be issues obtaining the key if Supposedly, he left all this on the boat. Now, somebody in the comment section said if you are swimming, you leave your keys, wallet, phone on the boat for obvious reasons. Yeah, but you don't leave somebody on an island, though. That's fine and dandy, you know, if he left his, you know, keys on the boat, but you don't leave a whole person on the island, though. That's the suspicious part.
So I'm going to let my husband tell you about that because he actually went up to the door to get the key.
Not only that, just real quick, if they were, let's just say that they were horsing around, and I know people panic and they can't think, but let's just say they were horsing around and something went wrong and they accidentally hit him upside the head wrong, and then all of a sudden, you know, he was bleeding out and he was dead afterwards. What would be the better outcome? You telling somebody what went on, or you trying to cover it up? If that were the case and that were to happen, which I personally don't think that. It was just a thought that came to mind the other day. You know, maybe they were horsing around and something went wrong. Yeah, it's possible. They were drunk from what it seems like. It seems like they were, you know, obviously drinking underage for one, but they looked like they were getting drunk. I mean, if there's altercations that are taking place, you know, on an island, something tells me that they were probably a little bit intoxicated. You know, for some reason, something just tells me that. But, you know, I think for me personally, I'm thinking about my life. And I think, you know, taking a lesser risk of my life and being locked up for the rest of it would just to come forward and tell the truth if an accident took place. You trying to cover up something is just going to make you look more suspicious and complicate the situation even more. That's just my opinion, though. And obviously, there's so many people around and nobody saw nothing. No one really knows what happened to Nolan, but people are talking, so we don't know yet. I don't know about that one. I mean, I think when we're thinking about this, we're thinking, okay, it was just Nolan, probably the boat driver, and then the group of 3 white friends. But when you see that video, and I'll try to find it in a second, and the friend that is talking was saying that, you know, they could not grieve properly because they're just scared. He mentioned that they were just scared. There is a lot of people out there, and it looks like hundreds of people, and no one saw nothing. I don't know, guys. I don't know about that.
At that point, I was just not in my right mind. This has just been an awful situation, just terrible.
Elmore Wansley, the father.
Okay, so the situation with the key. When we got to the house, a few of his friends, they were already there. And they were at the door in the house asking questions. So when I walked up, they were getting, you know, things were getting kind of tense. So I turned to them and told them, I need you guys to calm down. I don't do this to me right now. I need them to kind of trust me so they can give me something. So I was able to calm them down. So the guy, he's in one of the pictures. He came out of the room, half asleep or whatever, where I think Jack's or whatever. And I said, look, I'm Nolan's father. I'm here to get his keys so I can get his car. I said, he's like,
his car was in the yard.
His car was parked in the yard. So he was like, I don't know, man.
So he's talking about the keys. I mean, I think they had a difficult time getting Nolan's keys. Not only that, so far, real quick, because now I'm really thinking about this too, and I've been thinking about it all day. We didn't get to hear the entire 911 call, but from what it sounded like the 911 call. Seems like to me it was a rather short call. It wasn't a very long call. If their boat was sinking, what do you think possibly went wrong? Let's just say Nolan was on the boat at that time. Remember, he's left on an island. So I don't know if this is the time where they're going to the island or they're going back, you know, or, you know, coming back to, you know, wherever they came from, or maybe they're traveling to another island at this point. You know, if their boat was sinking, you know, I hope that Nolan was on the boat at that time, because that 911 call sounded like it wasn't going to last very long after he said the boat was sinking. It sounded like that was like pretty much it. And no one mentioned about anything about Nolan being left on the island. But from what they're reporting, they're reporting that they said that he was left on the island, and he wanted to stay with some girl named Katie, and he was gonna somehow, some way, catch a ride back. Maybe he was gonna catch a ride back with the girl that he was left with. I have no idea. But this autopsy report is gonna come back, and it's just a matter of time. And like I said, people are talking, and somebody already spoke out. We watched the video the other day, and they said, and I don't know if it's true, but the two women that we watched the other day said that his body looked burnt, and there was some mishandling of his body when they were putting him on the stretcher. Don't know if that's true, though, and I hope not.
Nolan's like my brother. I said, well, if Nolan was like your brother, would you please go in your room and see if you can find my son's keys so I can take his car home? He walks off, 2 or 3 minutes, come back. I can't find the keys. I said, okay, so at that point, I get the boys and I get to move them out the house, because I didn't want them to go into the house and start tearing up these people's houses, because there'd never be a hole in the situation. So we walk outside by the car. One of the guys that was in the house with us, he was on the phone with a girl, and the girl told him that Nolan's keys were on top of this Jack's guy's Xbox in the house, because apparently she was there with him earlier. So he goes back up to the door by himself, and 5 minutes later, the keys come out. So now I feel like you done lied to me. So now I'm really like in distress with you.
Yep.
But as far as that night goes, if I knew anyone who had a boat, I would have went out that night.
That's crazy. That's crazy. But it does sound like that they were not being honest with him. Let's listen to that one more time. It sounds like they were not being honest with him about where the keys were at. It sounds like they knew exactly where the keys were at, but they didn't know what to tell him. They didn't know how to explain, something went wrong.
Xbox in the house, because apparently she was there with him. He walks off, 2 or 3 minutes, come back. I can't find the keys. I said, okay, so at that point, I get the boys and I get to move them out the house, because I didn't want them to go into the house and start tearing up these people's houses, because there'd never be a hole in the situation. So we walk outside by the car. One of the guys that was in the house with us, he was on the phone with a girl, and the girl told him that Nolan's keys were on top of this Jack's guy's Xbox in the house, because apparently she was there with him earlier. So he goes back up to the door by himself, and 5 minutes later, the keys come out. So now I feel like you done lied to me. So now I'm really like in distress with you. But as far as that night goes, if I knew anyone who had a boat, I would have went out that night.
Tough spot. You can see they're broken up. It's amazing if they can even speak.
That's sad.
Mom and dad. But a lot of unanswered questions, especially early on. That's why it's important that investigators and the DA keep them in the loop throughout the entire investigation, because that's what they're asking for. They don't know what happened here, but some things are not making sense to them, and they want it to make sense.
Yeah, and I agree. That's a little odd to me. I mean, whoever it is, that's the very least they could do, is be straightforward with the family. But he could tell, the father could tell he was, somebody wasn't being honest. That's for sure. They were not being honest with him. That's what it sounds like to me. And luckily they're being calm about this, because for me personally, I probably would be going crazy right now. But they're being calm, they're being patient. And like I said, their transparency, them being as transparent as they've been is great to see. And, just how strong they are is crazy to me. It's, it's not easy to be, especially when you lost your son. That's crazy. I can only imagine. I can't imagine. That's just crazy. So apparently the girlfriend that Nolan was with, let me look this up here. Or I'm sorry, not look this up. Let me pull up this picture here. Because I had a picture of the girl. Where is it at? There it is. So there was a couple pictures. There was a couple pictures of this girl online. And, you know, apparently, like I said, the girl's name's Katie. Apparently, Katie told the people she talked with Nolan on Horde Island. She assumed he was going back to get, you know, to get on with his friends, to get on the boat with his friends. According to sources, it says she left the island on another boat with different people, and she made it home safely. So Nolan's friend told his mother that he stayed behind to hang out with a girl named Katie. And then there's another version that says Nolan told Katie he was heading back to the boat, contradicting the friend's story. That's crazy. So if you're his parents and you're hearing all of this, and you one minute you're hearing another story, the next minute you're hearing a different story, you're flipping out. You're like, you know what? We got to get to the bottom of this, because no one seems to know what's going on, and somebody's lying. Somebody's not telling the truth. That's crazy. So you mean to tell me nobody on that boat is being honest? Not one person knows exactly what Nolan decided to do? That's crazy. So the contradiction is, one of the major unresolved issues is, in the investigation is whoever was driving this boat, I mean, should definitely know something, and I'm hoping that, this is, I hope that the parents, obviously they know more than we know, but I hope that they were able to at least get to the bottom of that. Because, I mean, it seems like people's stories are not adding up. And that's exactly what's going on right now. According to the timeline, the boat left around 4:31 p.m. without Nolan on board. But then I overheard that there was a fight that took place around 5 p.m. You got people online saying that Nolan was there. People online circling the fact that like they said that he was there. There were even people that circled him there. Like they were able to point him out, like, saying he was there, but they don't have the timeline. These people are just throwing things out there that they're not even sure of. They just got a picture of Nolan on an island with no time. But supposedly they left at 4:31. And like I said, that boat was towed about 3 miles. And then what's weird to me is the boat somehow turned to normal speed. Maybe they were getting towed at normal speed, and that's why, it was stated that way, but that's kind of weird to me. And it just doesn't really make any sense to me. I don't really understand that. I don't get that. But the family has agreed, the family and the DA, they've agreed to, a mutual inspection of Nolan's phone. When the phone was returned to his mother, like I said, all the stuff appeared to be deleted. But we do got, independent experts from both sides, examining the device. They should examine all of the devices that were on that boat. And I'm hoping really somebody's just saying something, and mainly the people that were there, and we'll just have to see. Time will tell. This autopsy is going to come back. There's going to be 2 different autopsies because the families requested it, and they're doing one as well. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think we'll get that timeline pretty soon. I thought we would. I'm sorry, not the timeline. I thought we would get the autopsy sometime this week, at least for the short side of it. But it looks like it's going to take a little time. From what I saw, it could take about 3 to 6 weeks. So, and even months, which I'm hoping not. But I mean, I think I saw it when I researched it. It said it could take about up to 6 months, depending on the extent of that autopsy. But I don't think it's going to take that long. Man, prayers go out to this guy, man. This kid, family, and especially his parents. I mean, that's a really tough situation. Real quick here, I'm gonna chime in on the chat in just a second here. I want to play this just real quick here.
Support.
This loss, this grief, this pain, it's different. It's insurmountable. And I know if Nolan was here, he'd be like, Mom, you know, just keep talking to the people, keep telling my story, keep telling your story. So that is going to be my plan.
A visitation and memorial service will be on Monday in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Reverend Al Sharpton will deliver the eulogy, and Attorney Ben Crump will deliver the call to justice. Nolan Wells' family just revealed the date for his funeral. It will be on Monday, July 20th. The 18-year-old was reported missing on July 4th. His body was found 2 days later on Horn Island off the coast of Mississippi. Wells' family has launched an independent investigation into his death. Wells' mother shared a video thanking the public for their support.
This loss, this grief, this pain, it's different. It's insurmountable. And I know if Nolan was here, he'd be like, Mom, you know, just keep talking to the people, keep telling my story, keep telling your story. So that is going to be my plan.
A visitation and memorial service will be on Monday.
Man, that's so sad. That is so sad. So sad. Shouts to Domsey, man. Much love to Domsey. I appreciate it a lot. The Domsey. Alicia as well. Wow. Let me see what's going on. I missed that. Let me catch up in chat here. Thought it was Domsey I seen. No, it was Alicia. Man, much love, Alicia. I appreciate the 10 gifted memberships. God bless you for the 10 gifteds there. Much love. Platinums at that. Insane. Shouts, Alicia. If you have officially became a member of the channel, make sure you give big thanks to Alicia for the 10 gifted memberships there. Man, much love. And thanks so much to Made in the UK for the $10 super chat. She says prayers for Nolan and his family. So sad. Love you, bro and sis. Much love. And thank you guys for the jewels as well. I appreciate that. So I had something I wanted to share with you guys tonight. I wasn't going to stay on too long here. I just really wanted to get on for a little bit before I get really tired here. I know tomorrow I got to get up a little bit early too. Not that I really care too much about sleep, but I do like to get a couple hours of sleep. Yeah, prayers to his family. Indeed, Carrie, by the way. Janice says the parents contacted Ben Crump and Al Sharpton, no money grab. I don't know what you mean exactly, but you know, I think either way, I think he would have probably wanted to take this case. You know, I think Ben Crump he's like a national type of lawyer anyway. So, I mean, when cases are national like this, Ben Crump is on it, you know. I think he would have taken this. I mean, because he's does cases like these. You know, he's known for big cases like these. And like I mentioned the other day, Trayvon Martin was one of them. Ben Crump. So, I mean, Ben Crump is, you know, he's one of a kind. You know, he's got some pretty good cases on his hands. I was trying to find this other 911 call, but I just couldn't find it. So if you guys have the link for that other 911 call, because there's two parts of it. It's the same one, I think, but it's two parts of it. They're not releasing the whole entire thing, so we don't know how long that 911 call was. A lot of people are questioning the boy who reached out to 911, the one that stated that the boat was sinking. A lot of people are noticing or saying, really, to me, because to me, there was a little stress in his voice. It did sound like there was a bit of a panic, but a lot of people were saying that it didn't sound like he was panicking. But to me, he did. I mean, he sounded like he was distressed. He sounded like he was really concerned of something going wrong. So I don't know. I can't really call it, but I think, he was on the verge of panicking. I don't know if the panic was, if he was panicking completely, but I think it was getting there. But don't you have like life jackets and stuff in the middle of the boat? But remember, when they went out and searched that very next day for Nolan, they had to end the search a little early because of the currents out there. So that's what I would be in fear of. Let's look that up real quick. Just real quick. I want to see how bad it can get. I'm not a water person. I don't know how these people are even brave enough to go out here. I couldn't do it. I could not. Horn Island. Horn Island currents. How bad do they get? I mean, if they had to end the search early, I mean, I'm assuming they get pretty bad. So there's sudden drops from 3 feet to 20 feet and violent. There's a violent pool strong enough to drag a swimmer out even when the surface looks calm. Whew. I mean, I think that's anywhere with water, though, for the most part, right? Especially, in the ocean, of course. But according to research here, currents can get dangerous very fast. And we know that. I mean, if you've been to the beach before, water could rise in seconds. By the way, Made in the UK, I know you were reaching out on Facebook, and I wasn't ignoring you. I'm sorry. I just got sidetracked here at home, so I will respond. I apologize. Sometimes I get sidetracked. I'm not too crazy on social media all the time. I don't get, I'm not too consistent on there all the time. So I did listen to your message, though. I will respond. So sorry for the delay. She said she sent me a link on Facebook. Let's check it out real quick before I share this with you guys. I wanted to share with y'all tonight. Where did you send it at? Because I don't see it. Oh, wait a minute. I'm on the wrong thing. Dang it, I'm getting old, man. Jeez. Hold up. Here it is.
There will be.
What's this? What is this here? Law and crime? Is this, do they play the 911 call in this here? Oh man, this might be good actually. Yeah, it kind of just popped up tonight. I didn't get a chance to really go through a whole lot of videos, guys. I should have, but I didn't. Let's see. I don't know what part though.
Traveled into Fort Bayou at around 5:52 before returning to the dock.
Hold on, let's go back
at
real quick.
6:06. GPS.
I don't know if this is the part, but this is kind of going over the timeline a bit.
Movement. So I want to walk through that timeline. This is information they say they obtained via records request. So it appears to suggest that this boat, this vessel, left the dock at approximately 9:56 that morning, arrived at Horn Island at 11:14. According to GPS data, the boat then reportedly left Horn Island at 4:31 that afternoon, returned to its original departure dock, then traveled into Fort Bayou at around 5:52 before returning to the dock at 6:06. Later that evening, the boat went into the Fort Bayou boat launch at 7:19, traveled overland, which would suggest that it was possibly towed by a vehicle to the owner's residence. And to just kind of put this into perspective, I believe Ben Crump has claimed that Nolan was last seen on the island at 3 p.m. Tyler, what do you take away from this GPS data?
That if he was last seen on the island at 3 p.m. and they apparently, not only did they leave there, go to another area, then go to dock and get towed, there's a lot that could have transpired between that time, especially putting that in conjunction with the text messages and Snapchat history that was allegedly deleted from his phone or missing from his phone. So there's a lot of time for people to get their stories straight, to talk to maybe counsel or others about what needs to be the narrative when they arrive. Now, I'm speculating to a lot of this because we don't know. There has been no interrogation of these individuals. There's been no official statements that have been issued, but it's clear that there's been a significant period of time between the boat leaving, the last time Nolan was seen, and this boat getting back to its original owner.
And look, it confirms, or it seems to confirm, right, this boat left 4:31. We still have conflicting accounts about whether Nolan chose to stay behind or he was left behind. And this deep GPS data is going to be an important role, it seems. I will say this, this report, this MSDMR report, also indicates that the boat's owner, his mother, and one other individual who was reportedly with Nolan on the day of this incident have cooperated with the investigation. What does that mean to you that they have cooperated?
It means that they probably have been accessible to law enforcement, that they at least have their contact.
He wanted to say hi, guys. He's walking away. Now you walking away from the camera? Why are you walking away from the camera? Come back. Say hi to the chat. Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
Hi, you guys. Good morning. Good night.
You're not going to sleep? You don't go to sleep till I go to sleep. Right, chat? Not going to sleep yet? Anyways,
that information, they're being responsive to law enforcement. The question regarding cooperating is to what extent. Now, will they testify between a grand jury? Before a grand jury, or will they have to plead the fifth before a grand jury? Just because they are cooperating does not mean they're all being completely forthcoming. We don't know to what extent their role is, what information that they have. They could be cooperating through counsel. Which is nothing wrong with cooperating through counsel. But I think it at least shows that they aren't stonewalling the police and they're being accessible.
So let me go on to this other major development from this week's press conference. The family is now going to be allowed to inspect Nolan's phone alongside investigators. There's going to be this mutual inspection where both sides will see the contents at the same time. Tyler, is that unusual? Let's first start there.
That's highly unusual. It's highly unusual that a victim's family, along with their attorney, would be allowed to participate with law enforcement in the inspection of a cell phone data that's really the crux, one of the crucial pieces of evidence with this case. I don't think that would have happened without a lot of the chatter going on around the country about how this investigation has transpired, and it shows there's some distrust between the family and law enforcement here. And there, from my understanding, there has been not the best communication with the DA and law enforcement and the family. So the concession to allowing a joint inspection, I think, is an attempt from the government or the state here to try to regain some of that trust with the victim's family.
And I thought it was also unusual, if the reporting is true and if this is accurate, that the family has been in possession of this phone and hasn't or turned it over to law enforcement yet. I mean, maybe that's not true, but this is what the reporting seems to suggest. I would, again, imagine that's a little unusual. But also, how does this work? How does a mutual inspection work exactly?
So there should be some forensic experts regarding data extraction present with the state, and also there will likely be an independent one that Mr. Crump's office has present with the DA at the same time. So that way, everybody can see it at the same time, whether all data is being extracted, make sure nothing's being left behind, because the big issue here is that the early announcement of no foul play, the evidence of the cell phone that the family received, I believe, a couple of days after Nolan went missing, or the night of, I can't recall the exact time, and then the missing of text messages and Snapchat data. And by allowing joint experts or joint data extraction at the same time, it's going to help the family feel comfortable knowing that all data is being looked at, is not being piecemeal. Because oftentimes I've seen cases where there's been a cell phone data that's been extracted and the state says, oh, well, that's other information deleted, we can't get it. But that's not normal. When a forensic expert can see what's been deleted, what's been altered in the data.
Does this potentially present a legal evidentiary issue? If you have multiple hands on the phone, does that contaminate the evidence in some way? If there is a case being presented against a defendant, couldn't a defense attorney really hone in on that and say, look, I mean, you have to exclude this evidence. There's a chain of custody issue. Or do you say, look, digital evidence is different. It's not like a piece of clothing, right? I mean, talk to me about that.
The defense attorney may, depending on what happens here, let's say there are criminal charges and they are ones of homicide or something that's very serious or substantial, and this case goes to trial, the defense attorney would jump on that and likely try to have that data excluded. If anything, the chain of custody is going to have to reference the mutual presence of the victim being there, the victim's attorney being there along with their own experts, and the jury should be allowed to hear that, and they can weigh that evidence how they see sufficient. But if it's not excluded, it will certainly be an issue at a criminal trial that could weigh to whether the jury believes it's solid evidence, or maybe it could have been influenced by the presence of the family. But I do believe in the family in how they're addressing this with their own independent investigation, which I believe has even led to this the grand jury possibly being impaneled. None of that would have happened without the efforts that they've done. And I think it's appropriate for there to be a joint extraction for this circumstance.
And look, if messages were deleted, I think when you're talking about digital evidence,
they're going to figure it out.
Pretty easy to show. I think it's also, just because something's deleted, you may think it's gone, but it's in the ether. It can be recovered. We've covered those cases all the time. I do think the location of the phone is another key component about this, right? So the family has said that, first of all, it was unusual that Nolan would go off on his own, but also the idea that he would leave his phone behind. What teenager puts their phone down? But then you have this friend of Nolan's who told...
why couldn't they figure that out for Nancy? Whether or not something may have been deleted, when it comes to that, that footage, why couldn't they figure that out for Nancy? I bet you something was deleted in Nancy's phone. I bet you. We're not going to get off topic here, but just thinking about it, with the digital, because they use digital evidence for Nancy's case as well. So, why weren't they able to figure out, if that phone was tampered with somehow, some way? Just a thought.
ABC News that, look, it's normal to leave phones on the boat. You're protecting them from the salt water. He said all their friends were out there, that they were not communicating with anyone else. Who else would they talk to? And he said that when Nolan got in the boat, he put his phone on the boat's dash along with probably 15 other phones. How do you see it?
That's not usual. I mean, even taking for what we've heard that there was a young lady that he met named Katie and that he was interested in talking to her, you would think that he would want to be able to text her later on or get in contact with her later. I don't know many 18-year-olds who aren't glued to the hip to their phone. And even if they put their phone somewhere, if they're going to stay behind, they would definitely grab their phone. And so I think that seems suspicious, if
Good
anything.
point.
I hear
Good, very point. And I was thinking about that as well. You know, the fact that, you know, his phone stayed on the boat when they left him on this island. That is the weirdest thing to me as well. You know, why wouldn't they leave the phone with Nolan so that way when they left him on that island, they were able to communicate with him to see if he was okay? If you and I are good friends and we go out somewhere and I leave you behind somewhere, it's not like we're going to the club, you know, it's not like we're out on land. We're out in the middle of the ocean somewhere, you know, on an island at that. You know, so why wouldn't I, you know, check on my friend? And even if we weren't the bestest of friends, you know, me being a good friend, I'm still going to make sure you're okay. Especially, you know, being that we went together, you know, I think, you know, after having a good time, we would all leave together as well. So that's an immediate red flag for me.
Friend's position on it, but it draws many people some ire and gets to the same conclusion of that doesn't sound like the 18-year-olds and 23-year-olds that we know. They like to have their phones on them and keep them close by.
One more point I want to ask you about the autopsies, right? So we have two things going on here. We're waiting for the results of both, right? We're waiting for the state autopsy. It seems that they're waiting toxicology reports. But then the family is, by all accounts, trying to do this independent autopsy out in Washington, D.C. What should we be thinking about these potential dual examinations of Nolan?
If there's a stark difference between the examinations, whether the state's examination leads to simply a drowning with no evidence of foul play or any strangulation or struggle versus a independent investigation from the family that shows otherwise, I think that makes it draws some suspicion. I think that just from the history of how unfortunately things have been in the South historically and still that we deal with today, and the way this investigation has rolled out, the family felt the need to do their own independent investigation. I think the toxicology report is going to be telling as well, because, you know, if you're in the water and you have some alcohol in your system, it may be more difficult to swim and things of that nature. So the toxicology report is going to be very important, and more information regarding the autopsy about his actual how he actually unfortunately lost his life is going to be relevant for both sides, whether the state sees this as evidence of there being foul play or the family sees it as more so evidence of the state not doing a thorough investigation and being willing to pursue charges.
I think I said it at the beginning. Look, these are big developments. This is a critical time in this case. I just hope the family gets the answers that they're looking for, and we'll stay on top of it. Tyler?
You know, I'm really glad that they were able to find his body, you know, quick for the most part. I mean, they found his body, you know, pretty much 2 days later. So I think that's a plus for this investigation. And thankfully they're able to actually, in this case, have a funeral for their son. You know, so, I mean, it's unfortunate that they even have to have a funeral for Nolan. But at least, you know, they were able to, you know, recover his body. And, you know, if this turns out to go where where everybody thinks it's going to go, you know, it's going to get ugly. That's for sure. What bothers me, and it keeps bothering me, is the fact that this is turning into, it's like a race thing. And I don't know why, you know, it has to come down to that. But you heard him. I mean, due to the history in the South, you know, I think that's why it's got a lot of attention in that way. But it doesn't have to be that way, though. It doesn't have to come down to that. It may not even be for that reason. And I just think people are speaking too soon in that regard. And the focus is to be, you know, to try to figure out what went wrong here. And this is about Nolan. You know, it's not about what people think. You know, and I don't like, you know, he likes what he obviously likes to be around white people. You know, he obviously likes white girls. So the lack of respect for that is crazy to me. You know, I think due to the fact of, you know, we're talking in remembrance of him and trying to figure out what, you know, what's going on with him at the same time, I think at the very least we could at least respect, you know, the things that he liked and not make it that. And then not only that, I mean, it's just what he likes. You know, I'm not even going to elaborate on that anymore. I mean, it's just simply what he likes. He you know, this is the type, you know, a group of people that he likes to run with, and that's him. And obviously he trusted the people that he was around. And, you know, that's simply all that matters at this point until we know someone did something, you know, because of race. And I think some people are, you know, thinking, you know, maybe somebody was jealous of the girl that he was with because he's probably a starter on the football team and these guys wanted his spot. So it was a perfect opportunity to get rid of him for the most part. So that way, who was ever, you know, in the next running for that spot that was there with him on the team could have had that opportunity. There is a lot of jealousy that takes place, and there's a lot of things that happen like this because of jealousy. So I'm not looking past anything that is possible in this situation, but we don't know until we know. We don't know until we know. So guys, I got something in the mail the other day. Let me grab it. Somewhere over here. And I haven't been too good about checking my mail, I gotta be honest. Well, I haven't been checking it as frequent as I should. That's just me being honest. So, and I didn't mention this the other day, but the other day I had went to court. And as you guys know, the nuisance or the public nuisance charge that I had got dismissed just the other day. As far as the obstruction, and this didn't say this online at all. So there was a further order for the obstruction of a thoroughfare, is how they call it. It says the court has received a request for permission to record and possibly live stream via Teams the next hearing in this case. Please respond one way or another on this request ASAP. And because I didn't see this right away, whoever was wanting to live or stream this was granted to do so. Now, when I went to court the other day, somebody was saying, or I'm sorry, not somebody, the judge was saying, is the person here to record? There was somebody that was supposed to be live streaming the court appearance, the hearing that I had the other day. So, like I said, whoever was supposed to live stream it the other day was granted that. So I got the paperwork for that. This is probably going to make people angry. It says the first and last name is Matt Phillips. You wouldn't guess who that is. Well, let me show you. The first and last name is Matt Phillips. The organization is Dolly Talk. And then it shows the email address. And then it also shows the date of this request. So apparently, he's requested to come down and live stream my court. Now we know there has been some back and forth in between him and Criminal Network. And I'm not encouraging that he goes, because Criminal Network will be there. And I don't know that I would like him to be there either. These people just won't stop. They won't stop. They just keep going. Apparently, and I didn't even want to have to bring this up, apparently he was in fear for his safety because of Criminal Network reaching out to him, blah, 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 blah. But they come back online. They keep talking about JLR. They're talking about me. They're talking about Alex. They keep going and going and going as if there's no one else to talk about. Now, don't come out and say you're in fear for your safety when somebody finds your information. Find out where you live, find out your phone number, find out your name, and then come back out and do the same thing over and over again and keep talking about people. You're not going to get that from me, however. But you shouldn't do that to people. You shouldn't for people that are trying to do good for themselves or do something positive and they have a passion for what they do, you should simply be able to respect that. You should not try to bring somebody down because maybe they're jealous of what he has going on. Maybe they're jealous of what Chris has going on. One thing I will add is they sat up here talking crazy about us, making crazy statements about us when we were charged. With one of them, at least. Well, all of them. But one thing they said was, we, for the most part, and I'm not going to say word for word what they said because I don't really know, but one thing I did overhear was the fact that they pretty much were saying that we deserve these charges. And they did mention the fact that Criminal Network's resistance charge would stick, and probably all of his other charges as well. Well, I just want you to know you look wrong. You were wrong. You were wrong. And I can't believe people sit up there and watch that crap. But they were wrong. Just like a lot of people were wrong. But instead, they keep digging, they keep digging, they keep digging, trying to find stuff that they're not going to find. Someone gets angry, figures out their information, and then they're mad. All of a sudden, you're in fear for your safety because what? Because what? Trying to paint a false narrative, trying to make it seem like they were really threatened, as if something was really going to happen to them, when that wasn't even the case. But everybody has a breaking point. We're all human just like they are. Respectfully, I would only hope that they would stop sitting here and talking about JLR, and stop talking about Alex, stop talking about me, stop talking about Chris, stop sitting here talking crazy about people online. To me, they seem like they're intelligent people, and there's far more other things to use their knowledge toward rather than trying to bring us streamers down. whatever somebody decides that they want to call themselves, whether that's being, a journalist, a content creator, anyone and everyone is obligated to call themselves whatever they want to call themselves behind this platform. I just want to remind you that we are on YouTube, and on YouTube, you are what you want to be. No one stops that. No one can tell you what you are. That's pretty much all you'll get from me. I'm not going to, make a big old deal about it. I'm not really going to sit up here and talk down upon anybody, because that's not what I do on my channel. But you came up in my paperwork. So I'm just letting the viewers know, I know what's going on. I've been seeing what's going on. I saw JLR confront him in Las Vegas. Just cut it out. Just cut it out. Enough is enough, man. It's not that serious. It's really not. You can come record my court. I don't care. You're not bothering me. But if you're in fear for your safety, I'm just letting you know Criminal Network's going to be there. So if you're worried about your safety, then don't come. Don't come. Simple as that. But stop lying to your viewers. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Stop telling people stuff that's not true. My next court date is on August 3rd. August 13th. August the 13th. And I was reading the paperwork, and like I said, because I didn't respond in time or whatever deadline they gave, which was a very short period of time, they granted him to come out and stream the court. They granted him permission on his request to come live stream, and it quotes via Teams, the next hearing in this case. And it just states to me to please respond one way or another. And when I was before the court, she was stating that somebody was supposed to stream my court appearance. However, he didn't show up. But I'm just letting you know you're going to waste your gas and your time, because there's really nothing to see here. You're going to probably come to court. Well, if he would have showed up for that one, he was going to come watch the court watch the court appearance be dismissed. Maybe he's coming to see if I have a lawyer. That's the only reason that I would think that he would be coming for. Other than that, I really don't know what his motive is as far as coming out and, showing up at my court appearance. All of my information is public. So it's not like you're not going to know anything or everything. So, I mean, that would be the only reason why I think, he would be showing up. This is not Dolly Visions, just to clear the air. This is not Dolly Vision. This is Dally Talk on one of those channels. I don't know what the name of the channel is. But I've seen it before, and all they do is sit up there talking about us over and over and over and over again. As there's no people bigger than us. We're new to this platform. We're new streamers, making a name for ourselves, growing, trying to, it's the beginning of time for us. I'm barely myself, understanding, journalism and stuff like that. I'm barely learning the ropes. I'm barely learning all of this stuff. So, them trying to bring us down is doing nothing. It's not doing anything at all. You're just teaching us to, pretty much ignore the craziness, the drama. And I won't insert myself into it. I'll say what I have to say, and you'll never probably hear from me ever again. But you did come up in my paperwork, so I'm just showing the stream that that his intent was to come out here and stream the court. I'm just respectfully asking that they just leave us alone and find something else to do for now. It's just like a fly that won't stop flying around. Like, just go. Just go away now. Jeez, I don't understand. What's so bothering about us? Like, how long are you going to go on? We're not in front of Nancy's anymore. We've moved on. I'm not in front of Nancy's anymore. We another chapter has opened. We're doing other things. We're not going to stop trying to keep Nancy's name out there no matter what anybody says. So what's the big ordeal here? I don't understand why they keep going on and on. It's dumb. And then they have the audacity to try to bring Chris down. And I'm like, this is crazy. Are you kidding me? He's done nothing but be more helpful than anything, and not even just about us. I mean, he's been helpful to the case in a big way to me. Forget him sticking up for us and, what he thinks is right from wrong as far as any laws being broken. He's really, brought in answers. He's done a lot. He did a lot in a little bit of time that he and, his wife, when they came out here, apparently it's wrong for people to support us and talk about us, but just cut it out. Just cut it out, man. It's starting to be like annoying at this point. It's like, just fine. You guys got knowledge, man. The Dolly guy seems like he's a smart guy. Utilize that perk that you have on other things, man. That's not a good look. And Criminal Network, I think, reached out to his mom and let him know what he was up to. I hope your mom tells you that it's wrong what you're doing, because we're not doing anything bad. We're not. And I hope she raised you right, because to me, it's you shouldn't be doing that to people, man. We're good people. We're not people who go out and try to intentionally bring people down and affect what people have going on in a bad way. Respect the fact that we're learning. It's the beginning of time for us in crime in general, and just move on. Simple. Yeah, I agree. Them bashing Chris is a big mistake. No, it's okay, because they're gonna go play this on their stream the next time they're live. I don't care. I really don't care. I'm just asking respectfully they just move on and stop doing that. It's like, if you bashing us for weeks, you finally want to hear us speak your name or talk about you. Well, here it is. Please stop. Cut it out. Otherwise, you won't hear from me again. I'm out. I'm just asking respectfully to move on. Leave Alex alone. Leave JLR alone. Leave the folks alone. Find other people to bash. There's so many other bigger streamers than us. And that's all. Shouts to everybody being here, though. Much love to everybody plugging in tonight. I wanted to just show you guys that tonight. And I'll obviously cover a little bit of Nolan Wells as well as Nancy. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I wanted to just get on for a bit. I was skeptical tonight whether or not I was going to get on at all, because time was getting, ahead of me. But I'm like, you know what? I'm not tired. Let me get on for a couple hours. Talk a little bit about the updates with Nolan Wells mainly, because there hasn't really been too much updates with Nancy, so it's unfortunate. Forever says he shouldn't have threatened him. Well, if he actually threatened him, then he'd be in jail. And if he was actually in fear for his life, he would actually not, you know, somebody in fear for their life is not going to continue poking the bear. They're not going to continue doing something like that to somebody when they finally have had enough of all of the crap. Not everybody likes the way people handle things. I get it. But speak your piece and move forward. You know, you can only hold on to stuff for so long. And then eventually somebody, you know, everybody has breaking points. Everybody's human. It's just what it is, man. And I personally, for me, you know, I'm here for what I'm here for. I'm not really here to do the back and forth with things. I didn't get on YouTube to, you know, go back and forth with people. And I won't. I'm not going to sit up here and go back and forth with people who are deciding to troll or talk down upon us. That's just not me. And if that's the case and I'm going to do that, then that's exactly what I'm going to do on here, but I'm not going to do that. So, but there's nothing wrong with you telling somebody what they're doing isn't right and to respectfully just stop. There's nothing wrong with that at all, but people can take it how they want and say what they want, take it and flip it and make it all this and that. It is what it is, man. You like who you like, man. You like who you like and you believe what you believe, you know? But that's how online is, you know, you're going to have people stirring the pot all the time. Big welcome, Gab, by the way, Bella, welcome all you guys. Tory Birch, big welcome. Just wanted to say hello to some folks I didn't get to say hello to tonight. June, good seeing you, by the way. Chris says the Jews don't even comment and pay attention anymore. Nah, sometimes we got to speak up, man. And I'm somebody who speaks up for myself. I don't really, you know, of course I got a job to do. You know, I'm gonna do what I'm doing. But, you know, sometimes you do got to speak up for yourself. There's nothing wrong with that, guys. We're not, you know, it's not like it's a case and I'm worried about getting in trouble or something like that. Sometimes you got to speak up for yourself. I mean, a lot of people are on here for the wrong reasons. And, you know, people want to just gain some type of, you know, content off of you speaking something and saying something, and that's fine. That's totally fine with me. It doesn't bother me. Just don't comment or pay attention anymore to these clowns. Yeah, indeed, man, indeed. Welcome, Timo Girl, by the way, real gate watcher. Welcome. Don't start nothing but stand up. Yeah, exactly, man. Sometimes we got to speak up. That's all it is, though. Alex is who he is. I respect him for standing up for what he believes in. Indeed. And it's not that hard to respect. It's really not. It's not. I don't know what type of gain you're going to get off of, you know, pretty much calling somebody an idiot over and over again. It's really not going to get you anywhere. I mean, we all have moments and times where we do foolish things or we look like an idiot. So we only live once, and we're human beings. It's simple. One time JLR played the voicemail threats. We always get threats, guys. I mean, it comes with growing. So you're going to, you know, we're always going to get people that are trolling. We're always going to have people here, trying to bring you down in some way or finding something negative to say. It's part of growing, guys, and you gotta understand that that's what comes with it. No matter what you're doing on YouTube, if you're growing and people are starting to discover you and see you, there's always going to be somebody who doesn't like you or try to bring you down. It's just what comes with it. It is what it is. But some stuff don't make no sense, and some stuff needs to be addressed sometimes briefly. And if nothing changes, you address it, and that's all you can do. And, you just move forward. That's it. Juice, please look at the date on the bottom. It said July 17th. Yeah, because that was the prior court that I was supposed to be going to court for on Friday. However, that one got dismissed, but not to mention it's for both. It's for both charges, okay? It's not for specifically the one, okay? So there's 2 pages. There's 2 of them. So he put in for both, guys, not just the one. So there's one here for July 13th, which is the obstruction of a thoroughway. That one is the one that got continued. And then there's the other one for the 17th, which is the nuisance charge. That one was the one dismissed. So I hope that makes more sense for you. So if one gets continued, that would mean that person would have to show up at the next court date. It's already been granted. So that would mean that the same thing applies as of this date going forward. I was telling you guys that I had got the mail kind of late. And that's what it said. Domsey says, remember that hate is about themselves, lonely, hateful, and low self-esteem people. I pray for them. What a waste of time in life. I agree. I couldn't agree more. Overthinker says, Juice, thank you for the info and stream about Nolan. Anytime. Yeah, I had several things I was going to share with you guys tonight. And that was one of them, but we're moving on now. Some people were kind of confused about the dates on the paper, but I hope you understand it now. Yeah, so that innocent, no, it is that person. So it's not Dolly Visions, guys. It's not Dolly Visions. Just so you guys know, we're not talking about Dolly Visions. So don't go to Dolly's Vision channel telling him, because people are gonna run and tell whoever this was either way. But it's not him, okay? It's the other one, because we know there's 2. But it's not spelled Dolly. That would be Dolly Visions. All the time, Gab. That's how people are. It's okay, though. Big welcomes, Carol. Carol says, hello, everyone. Welcome to you, Carol. Mr. Rooster says, if I can offer you any advice, I will tell you if you can avoid taking a plea, please don't, because that's what they want to, so they can get you in the system. Oh, why would I do that? I would not do that. I appreciate that, though. No, I wouldn't take a plea. Especially being that I feel like I'm innocent, I wouldn't do that. I don't feel like I'm innocent. I know that I am, and I wouldn't take a plea if I know that. So we'll definitely avoid that at all costs. And if that's the case, we'll be going to trial. But I think we'll I'm well, I'm assuming for the most part that it will end up getting dismissed, guys. There's no really, I'm not gonna stress it too much. I mean, I've stressed it enough. I think we'll be okay for the most part.
Bailey, thank you.
It's definitely a winnable case in my favor as well. As far as, I mean, one already got dismissed, so that's a bit of relief going forward. There's going to be, just the one to worry about. So I think we'll be okay. But I'm not, like I've told you guys many a times, I'm not going to get my hopes up. So. But I think we're gonna be all right, and like I said, it's winnable. So I'm not really sweating it too much. Of course, I'm trying to stay humble here, and I don't want to be too stressed out about it. But I think I'll be good. So real quick, Lemon had talked about, I know you guys know Lemon. I think he had got in trouble not too long ago, but he was talking about the Nolan Wells case as well. I really want to find somebody break down, because we're going to get off here pretty soon. I would really like to find somebody break down that boat trip. As far as like the details of the stops that they made, from where to where. I don't really think anybody knows the exact stops from time period to time period where they stopped at. But I would really like to know that. And I think Lemon may have spoke about it a little bit. I'm trying to see if he breaks it down here. I want to watch this just real quick before I get off, just to see if he kind of gives a breakdown of the specific locations that they stopped at on that boat trip that they went on with Nolan Wells here.
From there, the data shows it's traveling over.
Let's see here.
Investigation.
So here's a bit of the timeline here.
Fort Bayou and was pulled out of the water and taken back to the owner's home in Biloxi. Now, a DMR report also says that the owner of the boat, his mother, and one other person with Wells are all cooperating with the investigation. Now, this doesn't necessarily point to one person or point to anything in particular, but now there's concrete evidence of when and where the boat was at what times. We have heard reports that the boys left the island right around at 4:30, and now that's starting to, that is being backed up now. We'll see exactly what this does for the investigation as time continues.
Okay, so again, I think this will be very helpful to the investigation because it gives them a real timeline. Before it was, well, we left around this time, they think they left around this time, we came back around this time, and we headed to leave around this time, we don't know, blah, 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 right? But this is a record now, right? This has stopped being speculation in the moment. This is public, it is a record, the boat returns to its original dock. And then at 5:52 that evening, it moves again out into Fort Bayou. And then it comes back to the dock at 6:06. And then at 7:19 that night, it heads out to Fort Bayou, boat launch a third time. And from there, the data shows it's traveling over land. If you have those maps, Andy, you can put them up. It is traveling over land, presumably towed by a vehicle all the way home.
User, I don't encourage that at all. I don't want anybody to lose their channel at all. If I wanted to, I guess I could try to make somebody lose their account by encouraging people to report their accounts so that way they'll lose it. But I'm not that I'm not that bad of a person like that. As far as I won't get that bad when it comes to me. I mean, I don't even think about that. That doesn't even cross my mind. I would not want that. I wouldn't want to wish that upon anybody at all. Like, people are going to do what they do. If that's what their channel is, that's what their channel is. I'm not trying to take away what somebody has because they decided to talk down on somebody. People are going to do what they do. So it's all good, man. It's all good. But, if people want to take that upon themselves and do that, feel free. But I'm not that type of person. I wouldn't do that. I want people to be able to get the gain that they're looking for, no matter what they're doing. I guess if that's what they want that, so that's what they're going to get out of it, by doing what they're doing, obviously. But, like I said, all you could do is ask people to stop, man. That's all you could do. Kawasaki says, the last person Nolan's family wants to see is JLR. Say what? So I thought somebody in the chat was saying that JLR was coming out here, but I guess they meant that he was going out there. That's pretty cool. I would love to go out there and see what it's like. I'm not getting in that water though, that's for sure. I don't do water and currents and all, when it comes to currents and all that. I'm not somebody who would love to be on water. Not too fond of that for me.
Of the boat's owners to the home of the boat's owners in Biloxi. And so, again, I want to walk you through this slowly because the timing is the whole thing here. Left at 4:31, back at the dock, out again at 5:52 on the water for a while, back at 6:06, out a third time at 7:19, and then that's not a single trip home from a day at the beach. This boat was in motion several or separate times across roughly 3 hours on the exact evening that this young man was still stranded on an island 10 miles offshore with no bridge, there's no ferry, and by every account, no way to get himself back. Okay? And I want to be very careful here because then, with almost any other story that we cover, because this one, precision really matters. There's been so much misinformation, so much speculation. This data does not tell us why the boat moved those extra times. It does not tell us who was driving it in each of those trips or where exactly it went on the water in between the dock and Fort Bayou, or whether any of those movements had anything to do with Nolan at all. And so I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it does. What this data does is it establishes for the first time the real certainty, some real certainty of, rather than a guess, right? This was in real time, real documented GPS stamp time. Okay. So, Andy, do we have some of the sound? Is there GPS? It's just the data. Do we have, apparently there was a call or something from the folks on the boat? No?
Yes, we have a call. We also have Charles. He's ready.
Okay, let's do the call and then we'll bring Charles in.
Nolan went on a 4th of July boat trip with friends. After some of them returned without him, his mom contacted police.
Police report her 18-year-old son, Nolan Wells, missing passing at 3 on Horn Island.
And now NBC News has obtained new audio, part of a records request of a call made to a private towing company by some of Nolan's friends.
We're sinking. Can you all please come?
A mom of one of those friends wrote last week that the group left without Nolan when their boat began malfunctioning and that Nolan decided to stay on the island.
Is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's on board.
As Nolan's family waits for answers, they've learned the case will be presented to a grand jury once the investigation is complete. The DA telling NBC News that's standard procedure for cases dealing with unknown causes of death and not an indication that a crime was committed.
Okay. So, are you joining us this morning?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
What do you make of this new information about the GPS and then this apparent call for taking on water, this call for help, if you will?
Yeah, the call for help, I really don't know what to make of that. What time was that at, Don? What time was that call at?
I think the call was it earlier in the morning, Andy, that the call happened, correct?
I believe so. I'm going to check.
Yeah, we're going to check it and play it for you because it was, again, there's a lot of confusion around exactly when the call for help was. We know with the GPS data, that tells us exactly, where they were going. But when that call for help, I'm not sure if they were going back to, to land or if they were going out to Horn Island.
Right. I mean, either way, there have been enough witnesses who've come forward that we know that, that Nolan made it out to Horn Island and that he was there at some point in the just before noon or around noon and then into the afternoon. We've spoken to people who saw him out there. So I'm not sure how much the GPS data really moves the case at all, because there's no question that he was on that boat and that the boat did get to Horn Island. The real issue is I want to know the movements of that boat after it left Horn Island on the way back, because we know Nolan, you know, that's the whole point. He was not on that boat. Where was he? And that's the issue here, is what happened, who was he with on Horn Island, and was he left there, or was there some conflict? You know, that early on video, that has been, we've figured that out now. The video that was on TikTok where you heard people arguing, and some people said, oh, that might have been Nolan. Multiple people have come forward and said that argument you were hearing in that video.
Yeah, and then the guy that was saying that, you know, when they showed that boat incident where there was some arguing that looked like it took place, the guy in the photo with Nolan kept saying that that was him that was doing all of the yelling in the background. But again, the parents came out and they said this kid has never even been to their house before, that he's not even, like, they don't know him. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but in the background, you can kind of see like a white kid in the background. So I'm assuming that they're not even at their, you know, they're not at Nolan's house. So, I mean, and I don't, you know, to be honest with you, I don't know what that is that's hanging from the ceiling. But I don't think personally a black person would have that in their home, something like that. So I would take it that they're not even at his house, but whoever this guy is, he's claiming to be like Nolan Wells' best friend, which apparently, according to sources, is saying that that's not true. But right in the back there too, you can kind of see a white kid down there. Look in the back, it may be one of the guys on the boat. It kind of looks like one of the kids that were on the boat with Nolan. So I'm assuming in this photo, you know, he may have been at a friend's house or something like that. I can't call it. But I believe this kid in this photo here next to Nolan was one of the people who have spoken out.
Was not him. That was another kid who was out there. So that part is gone. And then the other thing that came up was that photo of him in the pool. Also been dismissed now as that was a photo taken at a different time. So all of these things keep coming up because, look, I get why there's so much interest in this, and you have internet sleuths digging around, finding anything related to it. But so far, as what we've seen, nobody's found anything that really moves forward. You know, the answer is the big question, or even.
Right, Judy. And that kid is, yeah, he definitely looks mixed, like he's Hispanic and black or something like that.
Adds to the question of what happened after the friends left on the boat, who was with Nolan, and what happened. Because really, that's the last we know of him is around 4:30, July 4th, on Horn Island, and then the next thing is them finding his body on July 6th. We just, you know, the authorities are puzzled, and the part of this that they said is the most difficult is Horn Island is not it's not a tourist area where there are any sorts of stores or shops or services. There are no buildings there. It's just a sandbar, really. And so there are no cameras out there. So any information that the authorities are going to get about Nolan's whereabouts after the boat left has to come from people who were there.
Yeah. Charles, it says that, and we'll put it up on the screen, but it says at 4:30, they left Horn Island around 4:30. This was on July 4th. Nolan was last seen around 3 p.m. on July 4th. They left around 4:30 when the boat was taking on water, and they had an issue with the bilge pump. I don't know if you're a boater or you know, but the bilge pump, that's the thing that pumps out the water. If you get water in the boat, right, splashing around, it pumps it out and sends it back into whatever body of water that you are boating in. And so the boat was.
By the way, people aren't mentioning this, guys, but just so you know, for the record, Horn Island is about 14 miles long and roughly about almost about a mile wide. So it's a total area of about 4.2 square miles. So it's a fairly decently sized island. So just for the record,
taking on water, problem with the bilge pump, but everybody else got back. So I don't know how much that has to do with Nolan. Was it taking on water before? Did they have some sort of distress? Nobody knows. So there's so much speculation around this story, and nothing adds up at this point. I don't know if you feel that way. Look, it's
yeah.
I would say it's
and
early
honestly,
on, but it's been 11 days. You know what I'm saying?
It looks like it basically looks like nothing, guys. By the way,
about the boat taking on water in the afternoon, it almost like again, we don't know, and a lot of this is speculation, but it feels like that is going to be used by someone at some point, whoever was driving the boat, whoever was on the boat, to say, this is why we were focused on getting back to the mainland, right? We were worried about taking on water, and that's all we were focused on. Is someone going to use that as sort of an excuse as to why they weren't thinking about, oh, where's Nolan? Oh, wait a second, nobody checked on Nolan. And that's the part that feels most troubling here, that he went out there with these friends and then they leave, but it doesn't seem like anybody had any concern for Nolan and for Nolan's well-being. And that's the part that feels really, that's the off-putting part, right? That most people, when they watch the story, they go like, I would never do that. I would never just leave a friend and without any concern for how he's getting back to the mainland.
And the crazy thing about it is on Horn Island there, there's no quick rescue access. So emergencies rely on boats, helicopters or like park rangers. So that means that the response times are much longer. So it would take somebody quite a bit of time than usual to get there to rescue somebody than you being on like a mainland beach. And I don't really know how far this is from, where they left. I would have to look that up. I'm not too sure, but upon looking it up as well, it did state that the northern end of Horn Island is where the strong currents occur. So there's specific areas that you probably don't want to be in at certain times on Horn Island, but I'm assuming that certain areas you could stay in that area, on Horn Island that would actually be safe. Perhaps a disaster situation maybe took place. You would be able to, I would assume, survive it. So if that's the case, then if he was actually left on this island, I don't know if, a disaster would have taken him out unless he was in the wrong spot. So I'm assuming, like I said, he could be somewhere on this island that he would be safe until help arrived. So that leads me to believe that something went bad, something went wrong. And it probably could have been that fight that took place that just went left. I can't really call that part of it. But it does seem like he, for the most part, made it to this island, like they said. But he was left there. And I think that's the tricky part. I think there's a good possibility that he was left there for a reason, not necessarily because he wanted to stay. I think that it almost sounds like they came up with that to cover their butt. And I'm hoping that's not what this turns out to be, but it's, to me, I'm kind of moving in that direction because there would be no reason to leave him behind. He's 18 years old. He and that girl, obviously I'm assuming the girl that he was dating is probably the same age. And she would probably be able to, they could do their own thing outside of the island. I don't think them being on that island, gave them more access to be able to do whatever they intended on doing, unless they were just enjoying the scene that much. But I don't think it would have been all that much. Well, I can't even say that. But something's tricky here. Something's off. And obviously we're limited on the information that's been given, but something isn't adding up. And we know it. We know it. It's a matter of time.
And the other part that makes it suspicious is that none of those friends are talking. If you had those friends coming forward saying,
that was my question.
This is what we saw. This is what we saw. He told us this. We believed him. We left. We saw him with these people. And those people you should be talking to. They'll have answers. But nobody is coming forward and saying anything. And that's what makes America feel like something's up here.
Charles, we've been talking about the aspect, and you've been talking to friends and some family folks as well, about race being involved in this story.
Yep.
Look, it's involved in it whether we like it or not, whether it's real or not, because I think that's part of the reason that there's been such a response to this story, is that Nolan is a young black man, and it's in the photograph surrounded by white guys. He wasn't the only black person on the island, we have found out, or on the boat, as we have found out in subsequent days. But this issue of race is really, really captured people's interest, and maybe it has something to do with it or not, but it's certainly a part of this story.
Yeah, so for the person in the chat asking about the girl, Katie told the girl that Nolan was with, her name is Katie, and she told people that she talked with Nolan on Horn Island. So they were on that island together at some point in time. She assumed that he was going back to get on his friend's boat. So from what she's told authorities or the public, is they didn't have any intent on staying on the island together, because his friends are telling people that he wanted to stay there because of the girl. Okay, so it's conflicting for sure. So Nolan's friends told his mother that he stayed behind to hang out with the girl named Katie. So there's so many it seems like there's a lot of different versions of this story. That says Nolan told Katie he was heading back to the boat. That's, like I said, contradicting the friend story. So their stories aren't adding up. And you know how it goes when you're questioned by law enforcement. Once those stories don't amount to the same stories, or they don't sound the same, something isn't right. They already know something's up here and somebody's hiding something. So it comes down to who's telling the truth. Is the girl telling the truth, or, are the guys telling the truth? And like he just said right now, the kids on the boat aren't talking. But here's another thing. The lawyer came out the other day. They held a small conference, and he said that people are talking. Friends are starting to speak up. They're saying stuff, and we heard it we heard it just a second ago as we listened to it. One of the friends on that 911 call, and another friend came out and stated something as well. So, people are talking, but they're not really giving a whole lot, as I think is what he's giving it, is what he's pretty much saying. It's like they're talking, but they're not talking enough. They're not saying much. They're leaving a lot of things out, is what I'm getting out of this. So that's what's really raising a red flag as well. There's so many red flags in this story. It's crazy.
It's certainly a big part of the story.
It was initially a part of the story because the first image, the image of him on the boat with his friends, it strikes everyone, oh, Nolan's the only black kid. And you're right, he wasn't the only black person out on the island. There were, and from everything we've heard from people we've spoken to in Ocean Springs, it is not an area where there's racial tension, generally. Do things happen in between individuals? I'm sure, like anywhere in the country, but it's not like what we've heard from, we spoke to Nolan's football coach in high school, and he said that Ocean Springs is not a place where you generally have people clashing over race. And that
no, that's not really happening no more. And that's what's bothering me a lot, is a lot of people in this case, it seems like, especially for the people that are really the bigger figures of this case, are making this more about race than it is about simply this kid, something, that happened to Nolan. And that's what's really bothering me even more. It shouldn't even come down to that. It's too early for all that, for it to be anything that has to do with race. I hate when people throw that in there. And then, even the sheriff's story isn't all that, accurate. He stated that a stranger started a fight with him. He was trying to get off the boat to continue the fight. And then he stated also that Nolan was not involved in the altercation. So there's rumor going around that there was an altercation that took place at some point in time. But apparently Shepard stated these comments. So, and apparently he, obviously knows more than we do, because, he's the sheriff. But even he's coming out and saying stuff that doesn't add up, like what I mentioned earlier, due to the fact that he said that there was no signs of foul play. How do you know if there's no autopsy?
Nolan got along with everybody, regardless of race, and that was generally how things were in that town. I also think if you want to take the lead of Nolan's parents, and I know it's difficult because, people watching this from other parts of the country are forming their own opinions about what's going on. And I'm sure some of that is, pardon the phrase, colored by the fact that it happened in Mississippi. And people have perceptions about Mississippi, accurate or not. So that's what people outside of Ocean Springs are thinking. But it sounds like in Ocean Springs, they're not making a big deal about race. Yes, people have questions. And you've heard Nolan's parents saying, we want to know, we want a complete investigation. We want to know that the police are dealing with this the same way they would for any other kid if it was a white kid who was missing. But they're not saying necessarily, his parents are not leaning into whatever happened to Nolan happened because of race. They just don't know, and they seem to be, willing to wait.
Okay. Yeah, I want to play this.
I would agree with that, Rooster. Yeah, to Rooster's comment, Rooster says, I believe an issue with a woman was more likely than race, some type of jealousy. Yeah, I would agree. That would be more believable than this being a race thing. I mean, it's 2026. I mean, race is still an issue in this world. It's still a common issue that occurs in time and places like these places. However, it just doesn't seem like this would be the case. I would assume even that they would be jealous of the position or him being a starter in the football position that he's in right now, more than it being a race thing right now. So I mean, it's just bothering that they're throwing that in there, man. They should not be throwing that in there right now. And it's hard. It's taking a lot of focus on what really the focus should actually be right now, period.
I think it was the last question that you guys asked him, at least in the video, in the soundbite that we have. And if we have that, let's roll it.
Look, there's a reality to life these days. Was there racial tension at the school? I mean, you were certainly able to observe, and it's something people are talking about. Whether it's a factor at all or not, was there racial tension at this school?
No, I don't think it was no racial intention at the school. You know, from my experience, cause you have predominant white school, you have black kids there, and they all played and grew up together and got along. Now some stuff might have happened that I didn't see, so I can't speak wholeheartedly on it. But from what I did see, it was a tight knit community. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, that doesn't mean that, the coach is not with the kids 24/7. And we don't know if there was something, maybe it didn't even involve a kid from the school if something did happen. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, because all the people who are out on Horn Island are not only from Ocean Springs. So who knows who's out there? The big question is when the friends were gone, who was Nolan with? Because that's really where you want to be suspicious of what happened to him, right? Because by all accounts, when the friends left, Nolan was okay. He was alive, he was fine. So something happened after they left at 4:30, and because no one has come forward to say what they saw, we're all left speculating and in most cases thinking the worst.
Got it. Thank you, Charles. Look, if you guys get any information, you guys know that we partner with you as much as possible and get you on. Let us know because this is very important. We've been covering this story, and the engagement has been. I'm surprised by the engagement and the interest in this story. And
it's I think everybody looks at it and they kind of put themselves. If you're white, you look at it and you think a certain way. If you're black, you look at it a certain way. And if you're just someone who thinks about going out and doing things with your friends when you're in high school or college, you think about how it would have gone for you. And I think that's why everybody relates to this story.
Charles from TMZ. Charles, we'll be watching TMZ live later today, and we appreciate you joining us.
I'm going to tell you right now, I know it wouldn't have gone that way for me, not in the sense of a race issue, but any other way. Yeah, I agree that things could have went left, but I believe what they're saying about Nolan. I think Nolan was actually a good kid, and like they're saying, I think he was probably very easy to get along with. He just seems like he's a real, not only just a smart kid, but really a nice kid. But I mean, you can't judge a book by its cover all the time, so you never know. And personally, I don't know him, so I can't say. But I would agree that like his parents are saying, and a lot of people are saying that he was a good guy, and I believe that. Tea Time says, "The Juice, I agree. Most kids get along in general." In general terms, it does seem like a motive of jealousy and envy. I mean, I would rather lean in that direction than race for sure. And I don't know what the issue is or what really took place or why it led up to somebody dying, but this situation should have never amounted to what it did. That's for sure. Hamstar says if it doesn't have much to do with race, it does now because this investigation is messy. Yeah, indeed, and it's sad. Keeping It Real says we all need to be careful with our speech. We all need to wait for the autopsy. Indeed, I couldn't agree more. Innocent says, well, people are saying there was a fight on the boat, so that's crazy. Yeah, and that's the thing. We don't really know much because everybody's saying this and that, so no one really knows the real story. But it would be helpful if the friends that were actually there with Nolan would just simply say that. But it's raising a lot of suspicion due to the fact that they're already pretty much, it sounds like all of them are already lawyered up to protect themselves. So something's coming, and we know it's not good because of the fact that they're all, they've all gotten lawyers. No one's in trouble yet. So it's like, why would you need a lawyer until like something's up? A lawyer's not going to be able to save you instantly. A lawyer saves you in time. So why not wait until you actually need a lawyer before you actually go get one? But that's the case as of right now, from what I'm hearing. And then, one of the kids' parents' mother is a judge, and she's even spoken out. And from what I heard, that didn't go very well. So we'll see. We'll see, how everything plays out very soon. It's just a matter of time. Nelson says, who did Nolan and Katie encounter on the island if we assume the friends did actually leave without him? I don't think we're assuming on that part though, no, Nelson, because they know for a fact that he was left. That's a fact in this case. So that's one thing that we do know for sure, is that he did not come back with them on that boat. And had he did, I don't think they would have had to go look for his body. You know what I mean? So we kind of know that situation, or part of the situation, is more so of a fact than not. But I like Hamstar's point. She said that, unfortunately, most black kids don't get justice. That the reality, unless the powers that shouldn't be changed. And I could agree. I mean, that does happen often, or I have seen that happen to African Americans. But I mean, I've also seen it to happen to people who are not African American as well. So it happens. I mean, even with Nancy, we got I've been covering Nancy for hundreds, 100+ days, and she hasn't got nowhere near what should have been, as far as how her case should be handled. That hasn't been nowhere near close to how it should have been handled. So, and we're not making that a race thing because of that situation, although it's two different completely different situations, right? But still, it's just a point that it doesn't really matter what race you really are. It happens to anybody with all types of different races. Corna, good seeing you. I just now seeing your name. I know we spoke earlier on the phone, man. Good to see you in the chat. Corna says, Juice and all the pagers form the court. I would make sure you have your lawyer read all. Your lawyer will pick up and usually know exactly the language in the letter sent to you. My words of wisdom. Much love. I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't have any. It's not a letter that was. I didn't get a letter or anything, guys. It just reads the condition that I was sharing with you guys a second ago here. It's not a letter or anything like that. As I was showing you guys the page a second ago of who was supposed to be coming and streaming. And then the other paper that I have that I was reading the conditions on is just showing the date of the next court date and whatnot. I don't have any letter or anything like that. That's all that was. Indeed, though, I'm in the UK. Just be respectful is all I do ask. Yeah, I don't really ask for much, and I don't really have a whole lot of rules. Freedom of speech is one thing I'm big on in the chat. I'd love to have, everybody be able to speak freely in the chat, but, just keep it classy. Connie, good to see you. She says, good morning, Juice in chat. Big welcomes, Connie. Good to see you. Janae says, did they do toxicology on Nolan? Not that I'm aware of. I don't think much has been done as of yet. Amy says, so then it's not about race bi? No, not at all. Ollie says, Ollie Baby says, if the funeral is happening on Monday, doesn't that mean that both autopsies have been done and body released for burial? Yeah, I believe the autopsy is, for the most part, been, well, I can't say that it's been completed, but I think some of the results will go through like some type of lab and they'll be able to get the results that way and they'll be awaiting that. However, I think they might be still doing some things. For all I know, I'm not too sure, but I mean, you're absolutely right, because the funeral is Monday and that's just 2 days away from now. So I would assume the observation when it comes to whatever they're trying to, observe on his body is probably all said and done. But the autopsy is, I think there's things that happen through lab and other things as well that I don't really know too much about, which wouldn't be hard to look up, but Not only that, I think they could also, which is exactly what they're going to do, is take pictures as well and then go back and revisit those photos. But I think whatever they discover by eye, I think they'll be able to determine, whether or not there was some foul play or not. So, maybe what the sheriff was saying was actually true. Who knows? Because, you would be able to see, I think, especially if it's, depending on the extent of what somebody looks like when they're gone, like, let's just say, like, for example, they were shot, you would know, whether or not there was some foul play there. So they definitely know something. But as far as the autopsy, I think there's a lot more that comes with that than just, physically seeing somebody, So we'll see, though. We'll see. Stell says they don't do toxicology on drownings. Good to know. Tammy says, accident or not, they were impaired. Either way, they shouldn't have left him behind when coming back. They should have waited for him or make sure he didn't go or get him back on the boat. I couldn't agree more. Good comment. And then she says that for all of us, Matthew chapter 5, verse 9, which reads, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God, reflecting those who actively resolve conflict and promote reconciliation. Thank you for that verse there. I appreciate that. Well said. Janae says, our community thought Riley was a victim of violence, and toxicology showed different. He fell into the river and drowned. Still sad. Barr wasn't held accountable for over serving. Wow. It's crazy how they overlook, certain people in certain situations just to get to the person that did the worst in the situation, right? That happens a lot. YG says his body was found 3 days later. I think it was 2, but you might be right. Kawasaki says, it's strange how the courts can test you and get results immediately, and toxicology takes months. Yeah, but I think they're different. There's two. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it just depends on what they're doing. It all depends. Janae says my brother's toxicology took 3 months. Yeah, and like I said, it depends on what you're doing, because this, like I said, it varies from 3 to 6 weeks, it states, and then it also says it could be months. But like I said, it all depends on what they're looking for, or what, whatever test that they're doing. I'm not the most knowledgeable when it comes to autopsies, but it just all depends. I can look it up to see if toxicology reports are done on drownings, because I'm not the most knowledgeable when it comes to stuff like that. What's interesting is when that sheriff that spoke out, though, as well, we'll look this up, though, as well at the same time. But what's interesting to me, and I'm just remembering, because I was telling you guys, the sheriff pointed out that there was no signs of foul play. Another thing that he said was the evidence points to a drowning. But he went on to say that the investigation is ongoing. You know what? That doesn't even make any sense, right? That's pretty stupid. Why would you say something like that, but say that the evidence or the investigation is ongoing? If it's ongoing, then let it just be ongoing before you say anything. Like, don't say anything at all. What is wrong with some of these sheriffs in some of these towns? Just don't talk at all. Keep your mouth closed. Be quiet. That's all he should have said was, this case is ongoing right now. They're working on their results, period. I'll look this up real quick, guys, before we hop off here. Just real quick. Domsey says autopsy toxicology is So Domsey says autopsy toxicology is the analysis of biological samples from deceased individuals to detect the presence and concentration of drugs, alcohol, and other toxic substance. This testing helps determine the cause of death, especially in the cases that are sudden, suspicious, or unexplained. Wow. And it does say, yes, toxicology is absolutely done in drowning cases. So for whoever stated that they're not, that is false. And it also states that is standard forensic procedure, and it can be critical for determining whether the person drowned naturally or whether something else contributed. So there it is. I just read, yeah. So Tarek, that is true. He could have been held down in the water. Good point, Innocent. Good point. Very good point. Didn't even think about that. That's why I hate when people fight near water or near, high, high altitudes, like where, people start fighting. Let's just say they're on the mountain, and that puts people more, that just puts people more at risk of falling off the mountain. He could have got knocked out, fell in the water, and then drowned. You know what I mean? YG says they didn't tell the parents he didn't come back, but his car was out in front of the house, in front of the friend's house. That's what I'm saying. They kept, they were, if Nolan was gone at the time when they reached out and they said that their boat was sinking, it did not sound like to me that they were at all gonna say something was up with Nolan, that he didn't come back and they were concerned about something. Because what is also weird is if let's just say they knew something happened to him and they were on their way back after that, that should have been the first thing that was mentioned. But he could have also, this could have also happened after they left. Because, think about this. Let's just say let's just say the alibi checks out based on what they told, law enforcement. Let's just say that, they were leaving him there. They were going to go back home or wherever they were going to go because he wanted to stay. So they left him there. Do you know how dangerous it is once, you get into an altercation with somebody? Let's just say this altercation took place before his friends and him left. How dangerous would it be for your friend if you and somebody else bumped heads? Or let's just say there's somebody that you don't like there, or somebody that doesn't like you, leave you on an island by yourself, and no one else there even knows you. You don't know them and they don't know you. how dangerous is that at that point then? You know, just think about that. There have been many situations where, you know, you don't want to be left in a certain area without your friends because you know what could happen to you without you being with a group of friends. It's almost like a beautiful, nice, or any woman, you know, being left alone by herself. You know, she's more at risk of something happening to her, you know, getting raped, anything. So, you know, that was just a bad idea. That was a bad idea to leave him behind by himself. And regardless, you know, it doesn't have to go to the extent of them being charged with murder. But I'm going to tell you right now, they should be responsible for whatever happens to him or what happened to Nolan, you know, if he was left there by himself and this took place after the fact of his friends leaving, because he should have been left alone regardless. Simple as that. He should not have been left alone. It's just sad. What a story, man. And we'll continue staying in tune. We will definitely not stop covering this case for sure. What a story. Friends don't leave friends. I could not agree more. Not at all. Thanks for the jewels, by the way, Adrian. Much love to you. Much, much love. So, guys, I appreciate everybody plugging in tonight. I appreciate everybody chiming in with me here. And you know, I appreciate all the love and support. Thank you guys all for coming out and chiming in with me here tonight or this morning. It's rather early. I will be live tomorrow. I don't know what time. I am going to try to stream a lot earlier tomorrow. I got to be up in about a couple hours. I am off it's the weekend. So yeah, I can stay up late as I want on the weekends, as I still do during the times that I got work. But I will see you guys all tomorrow later on this evening. I'm still trying to guess what I want to do today as far as staying home and covering the case or getting out here and trying to dig up information. Of course, we can't go out to Nancy's, but I might have another plan in store that I might go for and try. I can't call it yet, but it's been a pleasure with you. It's been a pleasure having everybody's company tonight. Much love to you guys all. I hope you guys have a safe and good Saturday. Be safe out there. Much love to you guys all. God bless you guys. And it's been an awesome stream once again, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. It's your boy, the Juice. Have a great night, guys, or a great morning, in other words.
Yeah. We won't bow down. Yeah. Yeah. They shut the gate too fast. Call it peace, call it class.
Peace, guys.
But I see who they wave through, and I see who they ask to move. Porch lights on the same old block, same old story, same old talk. If your skin says you don't belong, they can make a wrong look strong. But the fences don't define us, and the fear they feel will blind us. Every face they try to hide still stands right here tonight. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. We know what that is about. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. Your fear won't right the route. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down. Names get tossed like stones from a driveway built on loans. They pointed brown hands first, then pretend they don't rehearse. But the steps on every street carry more than wash drinks. We belong where we stand. No permission in our hands. Yeah, and the silence won't protect you. When the pattern keeps on showing, every wall they build in pride makes the truth come back alive. Keep us out, keep us out. Keep us out. We know what that is about. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down, 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 down. Keep us out, keep us out. Keep us out. Your fear won't right the route. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down, 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 down. Let it crack, let it show. Every lie they try to grow, one by one, the voices rise.